So there's a whole lot goes into putting together and planning a annual photo calendar. We're going to share a little bit today of the process that we went through figuring out what photos to include in the 2023 photo calendar. All right, so I started doing this a few years back now. I think it's the third year I've done it, basically because people asked me to do it. So we're making a photo calendar once again. It's now available for order. As I was trying to figure out what photos to include here, it occurred to me that 2022 was my best year yet for photography, both in the number of images that I took and in the number of images that I really liked. So I guess that's a good thing. Doesn't mean I'm all the way where I want to be. I don't have anything to learn still or any skills to still improve, but it was my best year yet. So that made it difficult to whittle down the possible list of photos to only 13. One for each month plus one for the cover of the calendar. So again, this video we're going to share the reasons why we picked the photos we did for the 2023 photo calendar. We're going to go through one at a time and show you what's in this calendar and why we picked them. And we'll be back at the end of the video with details on ordering, or if you just want to order the thing, you don't care how we picked them, there's a link in the video description below too. Alright, so first up on the cover, this scene, whew. This is one of my favorites of the year. One of my probably
this is crazy
top
good.
Several.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, we were camped in southwest Wyoming. Well, I was bringing Melanie up to Wyoming this springtime, so I guess it was late April, early May, something like that. Can't tell you exactly where, but it's a cool photo. We were camped high up on the hills overlooking this valley, and it does have an interstate down there, and it does have trains down there. Two clues for you if you're trying to figure out where we were, I guess. That butte over across this valley, I just kept thinking, if the light hit that right, that'd be really cool. So, stepped out of the van one day, and lo and behold, there it was. So this was one of my favorites of the year. It was only stayed like that for a minute. This is an iPhone photo. I didn't have time to get any other camera out. It was like literally just, oh my gosh. Frame it up, get a photo, and that's it. It was done. And the light faded, and it was just, wasn't like that anymore. But really cool shot. One of my favorites for the year. We put it on the cover of the 2023 photo calendar.
Yeah, I think it was a fairly cool morning too. I think the grass had a little frosting on it or something, and so I just love that depth of the foreground and the midground and the background, and just you get that sense of scale with the trucks and the trains down in the valley there. So it's just, yeah, the colors were great too.
So January, Bonneville Salt Flat. This was taken a few days before that last one we just showed you, just on the cover. Same trip, making our way from the desert up to Wyoming, and the Salt Flats are, I've been to the Salt Flats before, once or twice, something like that. This time, we kind of had some interesting conditions. We had a big storm the first day we were there. I mean, we had one occasion, we walked on the flats, we're trying to walk back, and this storm blows in. And I got photos and video clips of us literally like, we're leaning like this, walking into the wind.
I have never experienced wind that was so like gale force. It was crazy.
It was crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and it just came up out of the blue, and so we're trying to
walk
back.
There was no warning.
And yeah, everything was...
It did dump some water though, and it made the salt flats with some wet spots, and so this is just kind of, and it's cool too because it's these vast flats, but there are some mountains in the distance, so it's just kind of a cool contrast, and we like the colors and the overall thing, so there it is.
Yeah, I love the reflection of the sky on the water, and it just brings in all that color. It's really
the wind
nice.
was not blowing this day, thus the still water. So, all right, February. Wildlife photography is a challenge. They don't sit still well, usually. They just don't cooperate with the photo process, and they're often far away. This osprey, really neat. They're big birds, sort of like an eagle or a big hawk.
Yeah.
they're fishing birds. Just they'll dive. If you ever get to see them, it's really cool. They just dive out of the sky like a missile, and bam, grab a trout and back up into the air or something. It's pretty cool to see. So this one, I think it's a probably was a female nesting. I think because it was staying in that nest. We found this in Wyoming, anyways.
Yeah, it's right on the side of the road. It looked like an old, maybe a telephone pole or something. They
I think so. Yeah.
had a platform on it, and it was a huge nest.
Huge nest. And you see some bits of baling twine and stuff in there. They used different materials to make the nest. Yeah, it was cool though. So I took a number of photos of the telephoto, trying to get this, and this was like one of a couple of the best ones from that day. It was cool. So.
Yeah, I remember I think I was driving, and we were in the Prius, and I was trying to sneak up on it and try to be ever so quiet so that we could get a picture, but because she was just standing there, but then she did kind of fluff out and get a little disgruntled, but she's right by the road, so it's not like we were, trying to go after her.
Those
but
times when a silent hybrid vehicle or...
Yeah, I really think the quietness of it helped a lot.
All right, March. Another photo. This is actually the same place as that butte that we had on the cover. Different direction, different angle, but I just loved this photo. Just the open expanse, the mix of the butte we're on and the valley beside it, the colors, this wide open sky. This was at sunset, but it wasn't looking directly into the sunset. The whole sky was lit up that night, and it was amazing.
Yep, that was a beautiful spot. Absolutely beautiful.
So April, this is a more recent photo actually. We were just walking around the park, one of our popular parks we walk around in northeast Wyoming. There's a lake around. There's a trail around this little lake, and we're walking along at sunset. And I happened to glance over, and I'm like, Melody, look, look at this.
Yeah, I didn't even spot it. You spotted it first, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how well the depth shows in this photo, but the heron was down on, like, the edge of the water. And then there's a bunch of cattails and reeds and stuff behind it. And then there's grass where we were, so it was kind of down in there, and it was very hidden. These things stand so still. I actually had shot a video clip at the RV park we were staying at in Pahrump a little bit ago of a heron that flew in. We watched it fly in and land, and then it just like strutted over to this little goldfish pond, stepped into the water, and they stand so still, and they're so stick-like that they look like they're just a stick, or a stump in the water, and they fool the fish that way, I guess. But this one was standing very, very still. And just happened to see it. It was cool. So, and I just love the overall picture. So.
Yeah, I love that silhouette, and that night was a warm night, and there's a lot of other ducks and other geese that come in, and they'll roost there for the night. They're someplace else, but for the night they actually go back to this little pond and roost. So. And so there's a lot of action going on, but it was amazing to see this one heron that's just very still. Yeah, standing there.
May, a little bit of a different photo. We were up camping in the Bighorns this summer with my daughter, 2 granddaughters. My daughter's significant other, his 3 kids, a bunch of dogs. I don't know. The girls had to bring their mountain bikes. They got mountain bikes earlier this summer. They were saving money. Their mom helped them then buy them if they saved a certain amount of money, So one of those things that happens when you're kids. The girls had new mountain bikes. Pops had a mountain bike, so they had to bring their mountain bikes to the mountains to ride with Pops. Their mother tried to tell them, we don't have room for them, and it's going to be pretty rough terrain up there. You might not enjoy riding. It's not like, at the house. But they're mountain bikes, Mom. We're going to the mountains. So... Melanie and I had to go over that morning and pick up their bikes and attach them to the 4-bike carrier on the van that, as it turns out, really doesn't fit 4 bikes, not even one adult bike and 2 kids' bikes. It's like a 2-byte carrier, but they call it a 4-byte carrier. So
We made it work.
we made it work. It took
Yeah.
some engineering. Well, one of the granddaughters parked her bike, helmet hanging on handlebars, in the middle of this park, as they call them in the Bighorns. They're just meadows. The van, if you're looking at this picture, our van is to the right a little bit. Their mother and everybody else is up to the left a fair bit. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. She just parked her bike in this random place. I walked around the van to go do something and saw the light hitting this and just thought, that's really cool. So I grabbed a camera and took a picture.
Yeah, there was dew or something on the grass, and it was just so beautiful, that reflective light.
Yeah, it was all just
So,
sparkly with the light
yeah,
everywhere, and it was just a
yeah.
really cool. I don't think the photo quite fully captured what it looked like for real, but
It's
not
hard.
bad.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, another more recent one for June. This is up in the Buffalo Gap National this is up in Thunder Basin National Grassland. I cannot keep Thunder Basin and Buffalo Gap National Grasslands straight. They are different. They're different. Thunder Basin is in northeast Wyoming. Buffalo Gap's over in South Dakota. This is Thunder Basin. The thunder rolls, right? All right. We were up there. We found this little reservoir this summer. I never knew it was there. I've been up in this Thunder Basin area many times, done photos up there, videos, flown the drone up there, just explored up there. Never went some serious off-roading in the van up there, found some interesting campsites, if we dare to go back to them. It was a little sketchy at points. This little reservoir we didn't know about. We found it this summer, and we went back like a second time, and I think this was the second time we were there. Got this photograph, and just looking across the reservoir, the water was almost perfectly still. Not quite glass-like, but pretty still. Had the reflection of the clouds and the trees, and it's late summer in Wyoming, so everything's, all the grass and the hay. This is a hay field back there. It's all kind of yellowed and browned, and I don't know. I just like the overall picture, like the setting. So.
Yeah, there's miles of prairies around this one little reservoir. So these are the only trees basically for miles. So it was kind of fun to see them, and yeah, that was a great little spot.
Yeah, Melanie brings up a good point. You can see the mountains way in the distance, the water, and then all the grass. And yeah, it's in the national grassland, and it's mostly grass. You only find these trees along the occasional wash, which are not nearly as frequent as in the desert, or like if there's a reservoir or a pond. So you don't see too many.
I don't know if those were cottonwoods or what. I can't remember.
I'm not positive. Yeah. I think they're cottonwoods.
Yeah, I think they're cottonwoods.
I'll have to verify that next year. Okay, July, also up in the not Buffalo Gap. July, also up in Thunder Basin National Grassland area. I think we weren't technically in the grassland here. We're right on the edge of the national grassland. This hayfield. It just looked cool. You get the mountains, you get this massive field. And this photo doesn't capture all the hay because it was so wide. It doesn't fit the orientation for the calendar on an 8.5 by 11 page. But there were so many. There had to be hundreds and hundreds of hay bales out there.
Yeah.
And these are big round bales.
And these are big ones. These are probably like 1,000 pounds. What do you say? Something like that. I mean, they're huge, but they're all over the countryside at this season, for the haying season. You just see them all over, and they're just. I don't know how they move them somehow and get them to the cows, or perhaps they just put the cows in the pasture, but. I always like that shape is so cool to see, and the way the light reflects on it and it makes the shadows.
Yeah, the light. I like the yellow and the grass and the fence posts and the mountain in the background. It just, and a clear blue sky, which we get a lot in Wyoming. We get a fair number of times we'll get clouds in the afternoon, but we have a lot of days that are just clear blue skies for miles and miles and miles. giving Montana a run for their money with big sky country.
Yeah.
I used to live in Montana, I could say that. All right, August. This is on the national grassland again in northeast Wyoming. Sunset. This was the night of a full moon rising. This is not the direction of the full moon. The moon was rising the opposite direction, but the clouds were hiding it, coming up over the hills behind us. So we were looking to the west and southwest here, just getting photographs of the sunset. And I just love the way the sky was lit up with the low clouds and the silhouette of the trees, and it was just cool. So.
Yeah, that sun just lit up those clouds that night. And I remember you didn't want to go out. You were reluctant to even go out, and I was like, no, we got to go see the moon.
Yeah, it was full moon rising. We had planned to go, and then what happens, I think probably more than half the time, not exaggerating here, I think more than half the times in Wyoming when there are celestial events going on, full moon, eclipse, meteor showers, whatever, I go out trying to watch it, and there's clouds. And it clouds up in the afternoon or evening, and it's like, boom, you don't see anything. So I was afraid it was going to be another one of them nights. And we did have some clouds in the way as we were trying to photograph the moon rising. We got a whole video about it, but it was cool scenery. It did end up being pretty cool anyways. But, yeah, the sunset was amazing. We had cows wandering around checking us out.
Yeah, the cows. I remember the cows. That was funny.
So it was a good outing all around, and well worth having gone on. Oh, we wrapped all that up after it got dark, after we got done with the moon. The sunset was over, the moon got done. We ended up with a lightning storm to the north and to the south.
Right.
And we spent some time trying to photograph that with mixed results. But so it was like an amazing, really amazing outing.
Yeah.
Well worth it. So. All right, you're all heard of bird on a wire. Well, these are birds on a fence wire. I think they're swallows. Swallows, I think they are.
I think so, yeah. This
is up again in the national grassland. I'm not sure how this worked. We ended up so many in the national grassland, except for I went back to Wyoming the 1st of February this year because of a family thing, and was there other than a few trips to other places like the desert to find Melanie in April, or out to New York and Massachusetts in August. I was based in northeast Wyoming from February 1st to mid-October almost. So there was a lot of the year I was there. And you got like the bighorns, and you got the national grasslands, some of the Black Hills. So this national grassland is not very far from. It's the closest wild area to where we're at. So I think I ended up going up there a fair bit. Melanie was driving this day. This is the day we'd been up exploring some roads we had no business taking a van on. They were Jeep roads or ATV roads, you know. We found some cool campsites. We had to quit because it finally got so sketchy we just didn't dare to continue. Thought we might have been permanently up there if we continued. So anyway, we're coming back out, and there's all these swallows on the fence wire. I did get this picture. I was aiming for another picture, and then all of a sudden they decided they did not feel photogenic, and they all took off in flight. And we have a short on YouTube that's actually done fairly well with all them flying. They don't show up as well as I might have liked because they're fairly small and they're just, all flying around. But I just thought it was cool. Again, late summer grass, kind of yellowed and brown. The whole fence running through the thing. Blue sky, distant hills. But I thought it was cool, all the birds, so we included it.
Yeah, I love the colors in this yellow and blue, and there's that one line in the back where it looks like there was a creek or something, so that you have a little more trees in the background. It just and then of course the fence post running through it, and those birds it was so interesting and why they were sitting there. I would imagine they were feeding. There must have been some insects or something that were flying around. So it was summer, but. They would, get disturbed if you went by, but then they would all come back and just sit on that wire, so. Yeah,
there probably is a waterway there. There is, you can't see it, either one of them in this photo, but if you're looking at the photo, off to the left and fairly close to us, close to that fence line, is a reservoir. And then far in the distance, off the right side, is the other reservoir that we showed you earlier.
Oh.
So there are a couple of reservoirs up there, and I think that's like a meandering little, I don't know if I want to to call it a creek even, but it might be at certain times of year.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's where the water kind of runs between them. So, all right, October we get out of the national grassland again. This one's in the Bighorns, still in Wyoming, but Bighorn National Forest and the Bighorn Mountains. This photo I believe was while we were up there camping with my daughter and granddaughters. I could be wrong on that. We were up there several times over the summer. Did several day trips, which was really great. I got to see some parts of the Bighorns I'd never seen before this year. We did a lot of exploring. Got a lot of dust on the van, a lot of mud on the tires. Melanie got to do some driving up there. So we got some videos from those, so check those out if you want to see some of those adventures. This big old bull moose was standing off the highway, and we had to like turn. We saw him going by. I'm like, what? And Melanie was driving.
No, you were driving because and then we turned around and we finally found a spot we could turn around in, and we switched drivers because I was like, okay, you got to be taking the picture here. I'll do the driving, and we were so hoping that he'd still be there because he was mowing on those willows or something. I don't know what he was browsing on, but he was having time, and he was so close to the road, which is very unusual. Usually you can see moose, but they're way off in the distance at the the edge of the forest or something. And
we saw a number of moose up in the Bighorns this year, and we saw one at like dark. Well, there's a couple of 2 or 3 of them out. Yeah, they were fairly close to the road. I mean, 50 yards, 75 yards, something like that. And it was a little dirt road. It was too dark to even do anything. Yeah. All the other ones we saw were like hundreds of yards away. You could see them, but trying to get a photo of them was like, I had a couple like I put on Patreon, like I had to circle it. This little dark spot here, that was a moose. Honest. So, this guy was, I don't even know, 50, 75 yards in the road maybe. Probably not 100. No. But it was not like on the side of the road, but it was closer than most of them were. And we still had to zoom way in. Moose, I found, are a little tricky because a lot of times, I had one cross the road in front of me up in Glacier National Park once, a big cow moose. And I didn't have a real camera with me, so that was kind of a very disappointing photo. But it's just a really bad cell phone photo from back in the day. This guy, like a lot of them, they're in the thickets and in the willows or in brush, and so you don't really get like a really clean picture of them a lot of times. So we got this one anyways. He was pretty big, and he didn't really seem concerned at all.
He didn't.
That we'd stop to get a photo. No. We didn't stay long either. We got a little video clip and a photo and got on out of there to leave him be because, don't want to disturb him. All right, November, another one from Wyoming. This one is near Buffalo, I guess. So kind of like central part of northern Wyoming. It's a prickly pear cactus flower. We were out hiking at a cool spot that Melanie got a lead on by talking to the BLM rangers. It did not work out for the purposes we were looking at, exploring it at, but there was some really cool stuff there. We're going to go back and do more footage there. Probably another video there maybe next year. We didn't get to it. We have a whole list of places that, for all the places we got this year, and we did a lot of exploring, we have a whole list of places we still need to get to next year within like a several hour radius of northeast Wyoming because so much. So, prickly pear cactus flower. This is just a really nice example of one, and we shot straight down to get the shot, and it was we just really liked it, both of us. The petals are so fragile looking. They're like tissue
delicate.
paper.
Delicate.
It's delicate, I should say.
Delicate. And that contrast with that very delicate flower with the spiny prickly pear. It was, and there was one that had a bug or two in it or something. I think you got a video of it or something.
I think, yeah.
Probably an ant crawling around or something, but yeah, I love that. That's the macro setting, right, on your camera. So
yeah, this is just an iPhone photo. I did not have another camera with me this day, and it did exceptionally well. iPhones have, and I'm sure Samsung and Pixel too, if you either Google Pixel. The more recent ones, the last couple of years, they just improve every generation. And so the recent ones have been getting really, really good, particularly in good light. Low light, still struggles, of course. But sometimes you still can get cool low light photos, even just, a lot of digital noise and stuff, and grain. But this one came out really nice, and it was the camera I had with me. So, that old thing about the best camera is the one you have with you. Well, there you go. All right, December. This one's in Gillette, Wyoming, actually, in town. This is another of the parks that we walked at a lot. Had a 1.3 or so mile loop around concrete loop around this lake. It's a wetland area, lots and lots of waterfowl here. And I went by this spot several times. This is a little ways off the concrete walking trail, and I kept thinking, if the light was right, well, this one night the light was finally right. And we came around the corner, and there's like trees in the way between us and the lake. We came around, and I saw this and how it was lit up, and I said, "Oh, Melanie, hold on." So I left her with a water bottle and everything and ran out here to get a photo, because I'd been waiting for this photo, and finally the light was just right. It had been hot, so we were having to walk like early in the morning or in the evening when it was cooling down. So we were here at sunset, and this was the photo. So one of my favorites of the year too. So
Absolutely, that orange is just glowing, and I love that fence in the front where it's, that orange kind of reflects off the fence even a little bit, and the trees on the side just kind of frame it up just perfect with the lake in the back. So,
all right, well, I hope you enjoyed this review of how we came up, which photos we used, and how we came up with that, what we liked about them, what it was that stood out to us that made us end up picking some of these photos. There's some other boring things, like some of the photos when I zoomed up, it's like, just not quite the quality I want, or the color wasn't quite right, or whatever. It was a cool photo, but it just, different things that can. But these are the stories behind the photos we did pick, and the things that we loved about them that made us say, yeah, let's include that one, because that's a cool photo. So that's the 2023 photo calendar. This year we are offering two different sizes. Last year we just had the one. Well, last 2 years we just had the one. So we're continuing that one. It's an 11 by 17 overall. That is two 8.5 by 11 pages with center binding. So it opens up. The pictures on the top page, the calendars on the bottom page as you go through. And these are heavyweight cardstock type pages. They're not flimsy, and the colors are pretty good on these. So we got the large size. The full size is 11 by 17. That's two 8.5 by 11 pages with center binding. We also have a 8.5 by 13, which is a single page with top binding. It's one 8.5 by 13 page, pictures on the top, calendars on the bottom, and you just flip them over, again for each month. And we decided to do that because we know a lot of people are in RVs and vans and smaller vehicles, or just smaller houses, and maybe the one is too big. So they're both available, depending what you want. We're considering doing a digital calendar wallpaper. Let us know if you're interested. Obviously, these will be cheaper because there's no printing costs. I've had people ask for like wallpaper packs before and stuff of photos, so this would be that. Basically, you get all 13 photos, complete with, the calendar for each month on each photo. So let us know if you want that. It'll be cheap. We'll make it available if you're interested. Obviously, you have to manually change your desktop wallpaper on your computer every month as, the month happens, so you got the right wallpaper showing. All right. Unless you don't like that month, you can use another month. Whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Do what you want with it. So pricing, same as last year, despite inflation. Everything has gone up, right? Food, gas, housing, everything else. Your calendar is not going up. We're keeping it the same price as last year. So the full size calendar is $29.99 normally. The smaller ones $25.99. Let me know about the desktop wallpaper, the digital, if you want it. We'll work something on that, but it'll be cheap. Holiday sale though. I mean, everybody's telling. We're recording this on Friday, Black Friday as they call it, right? Friday. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. We had a great day. Had a good time. Did a live stream, which was fun. We ate well. We have leftovers. But we had a good time. So, we're recording this on Black Friday now. As we're recording this, I got up this morning and had 30 some odd emails in my inbox that were not there last night. Every single one of them was a holiday sale thing. So, we're doing a holiday sale too. Not because I had 34 junk emails in my inbox, but because, we were already planning on doing that because we're kicking it off. So now, Black Friday here, which is the 25th, Friday, November 25 through Monday, November 28. 4 days, holiday sale. Full-size calendars are $24.99 instead of $29.99. The smaller ones are $20.99 instead of $25.99. So taking $5 off each of them, which is a good percentage discount, I guess. All holiday sale price purchases are pre-orders. I want to emphasize this because there was a couple people didn't understand this last year or the year before. They're pre-orders. What that means is just like on TV when they say allow 6 to 8 weeks for shipping and handling. But not only are we not inflating the prices this year, even though we probably could because everybody else is inflating, right? We're not taking 6 to 8 weeks to ship them to you. The point is, we're able to offer them at a discount so that I can take the orders and know how many calendars to order. That's kind of the key. The orders will all be placed on Tuesday, November 29th. So you get this discount going for the weekend, the long weekend, and then we'll put the order in on Tuesday, November 29th. Calendars will be shipped to you as soon as they arrive in my mailbox. I'll get them out ASAP once they arrive. And all holiday sale orders should be delivered well before Christmas. The should part being I can't control the U.S. Postal Service. Usually it works fine. It should be fine. I have not had any problems previously, but I will have them shipped ASAP once they arrive to me, which should be like the first week of December, I'm guessing. We'll get them out to you. As far as shipping's included. We're not charging you extra for shipping or anything, so that's included in that price. It's flat rate, U.S. only. If you're in another country and you want one, please email me. I'm happy to work something out with you, but you get into different shipping costs and customs and all that mess. So if you want one and you're in a different country, I have done this before. I will do it again. Email me, robert.witham@gmail.com, and give me the address where you want it shipped. And we'll look it up and figure out how much it's going to cost us to get that to you, and we'll give you a price on that. Okay, here's the deal though. Full color printing is expensive. Whether it's magazines, photo calendars, whatever, it's expensive. Going with a cardstock instead of flimsy paper is expensive. I've looked at other calendars, printing options. They didn't look near as good. The quality wasn't near as good, so it's expensive. Calendars are tricky because nobody wants to buy them after January 1. Melanie worked in retail for many, many years, and one of the things she sold was photo calendars.
Yep.
And how many people want to buy them after the first of the year?
Well, actually, January didn't do too bad, but yeah, usually by February things would drop off, and then we would have to discount them. So
yeah. I might have sold one or two the last couple of years after January 1st, but it's like, nobody's interested. So especially ordering and having to get it shipped and everything else. I think probably if you're retail, you might get some stragglers who hadn't gotten around to it, but yeah, especially seems like online would sell. I don't want to end with a bunch of calendars that don't sell, so it's hard to know how many to order, so the pre-sale fixes that. Offering the calendars on a pre-order basis allows us to pass along savings to you, because if we're going to order a bunch of calendars, hope we can sell them, we have to mark up the price, because we're going to know that we're crazily discounting the leftovers, or throwing them away, recycling them. So that's why we're doing it this way. We will have a limited number of extra calendars available at full price, but when they're gone, they're gone. So that'll be the $29.99 or for the large ones, or $29.99 for the large ones, $25.99 for the small. We'll have a few extras, but yeah, when they're gone, they're gone. We're not gonna have a ton of them. So if you want them for sure, grab them now in the pre-sale, save some money, and you can definitely get one. Order your 2023 photo calendar now by visiting my website at robertwitham.com. You'll see it there. And if you're interested in a digital wallpaper version of the calendar, let me know in the comments or email me at robert.witham@gmail.com. Whew. All right. Thanks for hanging in with us for this, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review of the photos in this year. So if you decide to order this calendar, you know where the photos came from and kind of the backstory behind them. And if you order a calendar, or you're going to order one, maybe I want to bookmark this video so you can go back and watch it again once you get your calendar and see the story behind each of these 13 photos in the calendar. We won't mind if you watch the video twice or 3 times. All right. That's it for this one. We're going to let you go. Thanks for joining, though. Seriously, we appreciate it. Again, links in the description if you want to check out the calendars for this year, or just hit my website at robertwitham.com. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We will catch you in the next video.